moving to Australia for nurses. So first is your Australian registration license. So if you already have your registration license in the country where you're practicing, you can apply for an Australian license through an outcome-based assessment pathway. So that's your OBA. Or if you are a nurse in New Zealand, you can apply through Trans-Tasman application. And I have created videos about that in the past, so please do check them out when you get a chance. In my experience, I was a registered nurse in New Zealand for a long time, and then I applied for my APRA, and then I got my Australian registration license. And I actually hold on to my license for, I think, maybe 5 years before I ended up moving. So yeah, it really depends. Some people I know, they applied for their APRA and then they've moved to Australia right away. And then there are also others who are like me, who waited, I guess, a little bit more before moving to Australia straight away. All right. And another option is the conversion pathway. Now, I'm not really familiar with this one, and in fact, there are limited number of schools who are offering the conversion pathway now. I think this is more available in a particular state, but not across Australia. And then the other option would be studying in Australia, as in starting from scratch. There are some options here. So, for example, there are some schools which offer 18 months, 15 to 18 months, I think, nursing diploma, and then you become an enrolled nurse after that. And then there are other schools which offers the full bachelor's degree, and in Australia it takes 3 years to finish, to complete. So yeah, so you know how in the Philippines, studying nursing, it takes 4 years to complete, and then we take our board exam and then become a registered nurse. In Australia, that's different. So nursing, you have to study for 3 years, and then they don't have a state exam. And like I previously mentioned, they have this short courses. I think it's 15 to 18 months, depending on which state you'll study, and then you end up with an enrolled nurse registration. So yeah, just a couple of options. I do want to include my video, but I know. So maybe I'll just do it without the video. Okay. Let me know if you want future videos about the conversion pathway, or if you are starting from scratch, if you want to know more about studying in Australia. But like what I've mentioned before, these two pathways are the most, I guess, straightforward application. So if you are going for OBA, if you are a registered nurse overseas, and then the other part is Trans-Tasman if you have a NZRN license. But again, I am not a professional agent. I am just sharing experiences from my own personal experience, okay? And of course, from publicly available websites. All right. So let's look at job application. So these are the websites which you can check for job application. So 𝐒𝐔𝐏𝐏𝐿.com.au. And then there are also government websites. So if, for example, you want to specifically work in a public hospital, so in Northern Territory, there's healthjobs.nt.gov.au. For Queensland, there's smartjobs.queensland.gov.au. For New South Wales, there's iworkfor.nsw.gov.au. For ACT, there's health.act.gov.au. For Victoria, there's careers.victoria.gov.au. For South Australia, there's sahealth.sa.gov.au. For Western Australia, there's search.jobs.wa.gov.au. For Tasmania, there's careers.jobs.tas.gov.au. So I think, if you are considering to move to Australia as a registered nurse, the first question that you probably should ask yourself is, where would you like to move exactly? I have created a video about the application process that I actually went through. So I got my job offer while I was still living in New Zealand. So that was really, I guess, convenient for me because at least I know how much I'll earn. I've sorted out all the pre-employment checklists, which, as you know, can be really challenging. Sorting out those pre-employment checklists, all the blood works that you have to do, the vaccination certificates that you have to provide, things like that. So it was good for me that I have sorted all of those requirements before arriving to Australia, and it gives me a sense of security as well because I already have a job offer.